The world is aging, and the future awaiting us might be very different from what we imagine. Our solutions so far have been frustrated, some disastrous, and the impacts. They go far beyond your retirement plan. Get ready to understand the demographic tsunami that has already begun and how it will redefine society. But behind the numbers, a silent and irreversible phenomenon is redefining humanity's future: global aging. Birth rates are dramatically falling in almost every country, while life expectancy is increasing thanks to advances in medicine and quality of life. All this, combined with medicine that prolongs life, creates an inverted age pyramid, with the base increasingly narrower and the top widening. The silent tsunami. The reality of global aging for decades. Global demographics were dominated by population growth, especially in developing countries. This means that for the first time in history, we will have significantly more elderly people than young people and children in proportion. Many European countries have opened their doors to immigrants, hoping to fill labor gaps and rejuvenate the population. Theoretically, more years of work mean more contributions and fewer years receiving benefits. Automation can replace repetitive tasks, but the creation of new jobs and the transition of the workforce to these new realities are complex challenges. Requiring massive retraining and facing resistance from traditional sectors, the transition can be disastrous for those who cannot adapt. In practice, this generates enormous social dissatisfaction and can lead to the exclusion of older workers from the market, who face difficulty finding new employment, especially in professions requiring greater physical effort or technological adaptation. This doesn't solve the problem, it merely transfers it. This leads to a slowdown in economic growth, less innovation, and a decrease in overall purchasing power. The population boom dynamic that fueled growth in recent centuries will be absent. However, this solution has generated complex social and cultural consequences. And parts of Asia may gain greater geopolitical and economic weight, while aging nations may see their influence diminish. The ability to project military power and innovate technologically will also be affected by demographics. Issues such as higher taxes to finance elderly pensions and healthcare, or the perception that young people are sacrificing their future for the past, can lead to conflicts between generations. This implies the need for greater accessibility, adapted public transport, and a greater focus on housing for the elderly, as well as care and leisure services for seniors. Instead of smooth integration, social tensions, xenophobia, and challenges in providing public services and housing often arise. Furthermore, immigration by itself does not solve the issue of low birth rates among natives, and the second generation of immigrants tends to replicate the low birth rate patterns of the host country. As younger populations are historically the engine of creativity and change, we will see increased taxes, reduced benefits, or even total collapse, forcing people to work longer and rely more on personal savings or family. In Japan, for example, the population over 65 already exceeds 28% of the total. Solutions so far have been insufficient. The path ahead requires a fundamental reform in how we organize our societies, economies, and welfare systems. The very meaning of aging in a world with fewer young people. The era of constantly growing populations is coming to an end. And with it, many of the premises that underpin the 20th century. Future impacts will demand unprecedented adaptability and innovation. If we are to avoid a scenario of widespread social and economic crisis, in Europe, the situation is similar, and even countries like China, which for a long time had birth control policies, are facing rapid aging, have tried to reverse the decline in birth rates. However, the impact has been minimal or insufficient. The complexity of having and raising children in modern societies, combined with cultural and economic factors, proves stronger than isolated monetary incentives. Rates remain low, and age pyramids continue to invert. The causes are complex: greater access to education and family planning, urbanization, high cost of living, and women's entry into the workforce. Solutions attempted. Frustrations and disasters. Governments and international organizations are not unaware of this reality. Several solutions have been proposed and implemented, but many have proven to be frustrated or even disastrous in their results. Birth incentives. Countries like France, Japan, mass immigration. The idea that immigration can compensate for the lack of young workers is seductive, raising retirement age. A common measure to try to deal with the collapse of social security systems is to increase the minimum retirement age. Robotics and automation. The hope that robots and artificial intelligence will fill the vacancies left by the aging workforce is a promising horizon, but still distant from being a complete solution. Future impacts. A new social and economic order. The impacts of global aging will be profound and multifaceted, redefining the foundations of society and the economy as we know them. Collapse of pension and healthcare systems, with fewer young people contributing and more elderly people receiving benefits and demanding healthcare services. Current systems are unsustainable. Labor shortages and economic slowdown. Fewer young people mean fewer working-age individuals. Vital sectors, from agriculture to technology, may face chronic labor shortages. Intergenerational tension. The pressure on young people to support a growing elderly population can create social and political tensions. Urban and housing transformation. Cities designed for a young and growing population will need to adapt to an older demographic. Geopolitical shifts. Countries with younger growing populations, like some in Africa. Innovation and creativity. While the experience of the elderly is valuable, demographically less dynamic society may face challenges in innovation and the acceptance of new ideas, a new reality. Adaptation is key. Global aging is not a distant threat. It is our present and future reality. It's not just about adjusting numbers in pension tables, but about rethinking productivity, active longevity, intergenerational solidarity. What is your biggest concern about global aging, and what do you think should be done? Let me know in the comments.